Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I wanted to start at the finish line. This is the documentary I just completed, a feature film, my first documentary called Starting at the Finish Line, the Coach Bueller story. But really want to talk about, I'll talk about Coach in a minute, Coach Bueller. Want to talk about how storytelling can be used as a tool to motivate, inspire, and educate. And that's my passion in storytelling, and that's why I do it. And it all started basically when I was growing up. I wanted to tell stories, and I wanted to tell these type of stories. And I had this dream of doing that on the biggest platform, and what I thought was, at the time, which still is a big platform, is the Today Show. And I was like, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to work. And I'm from Kansas. It's a long way from New York City. But I had this dream, I had this passion, and I wanted to develop those skills of storytelling, and storytelling for this purpose, to motivate, educate, and inspire others. And so I set out, I said, that's where I'm going to intern, and I'm going to intern there, and that'll turn into a job. I was so set on it that I just called and worked my way in, and luckily no one called the FBI or the CIA, and I just was so passionate, and someone gave me a chance. They opened the door, and I'll always be grateful for that person. And so there I was as an intern, and just loved it. I learned, shooting and writing and editing, and it just became like a home to me, like a second home. And it was there that I really learned the power of the medium of television, the medium of storytelling, and web and multimedia. And so I'll never forget one day I came into the newsroom, and I was so eager. I wanted to just soak it all in and become a better storyteller. And I was, just like 18. And so at that time, someone walked in the newsroom and said, you might be wondering why I have lollipops. They did not say that. But they said, hey, who here wants to fill up the candy jar? So it was an empty candy jar, and I ran like my life depended on it. I ran up, raised my hand. It wasn't a classroom, but I was just like, I'll do it. And it was there that this woman there said, okay, great, come with me. And so it was like the biggest opportunity in my life to fill up this candy jar, because I didn't know what it meant, but I knew that if I did a good job every day and was passionate and excited, that it would lead to opportunity to tell the stories I wanted to tell that I felt were important. And so it later found out that the woman with the candy jar was one of the big senior producers at the show. And she, gave me more money than I'd ever used to buy candy. I ran to Dwayne Reed. I got the candy like it was like a 100-yard dash. I came back, filled the candy jar, and it was there the next day that I was called into her office. And I thought maybe I didn't get the right, Three Musketeers or something. But it was literally like she wanted me to be her intern for the summer. And she became my mentor. I learned so much about the importance of news, the importance of educating others, and the importance of telling stories that will inspire change for good. And over the years, I interned had other opportunities to intern at different shows, and it was there that I actually was hired to be a producer for the Today Show, and my dream came true. And during that time, I really learned about storytelling more. I traveled all over the world, breaking news and the Olympics, and I loved it. I was passionate about it. And this is what leads me to Coach Bueller. One of the stories I did at the Today Show was for Making a Difference Today series. And the whole series was just like made for me, because it allowed me to tell a story in particular of one boy named Austin. He was 10 years old, and he decided that he wanted to help his pen pal. His pen pal was HIV positive. She was an orphan. And he thought, what can I do to help her? I have so much. I have a loving family. I have a home. I have all these things that I'm grateful for. And so he decided that he loved basketball. And he said, what if I shoot hoops? And maybe, the shooting hoops will help raise money for my friend. And, in fact, he did that. And we did a story on Austin, and we did this story because it caught on. Austin's basketball became basketball-a-thons all over the country, all over different schools. And they raised enough money to build a school for his orphan pen pal. And the next year, they raised enough money to build a hospital. And it was amazing that this one kid could inspire others to help and basically change a whole community's lives. And so I loved doing stories like that. And it was just a year ago, actually, that I got the opportunity to be a media fellow at Duke, back at where I go with Blue Devils. And so it was great because it gave me the opportunity to delve more into storytelling in longer format. And I had always, now I'll talk about the coach here, I had taken this coach's class when I was at Duke. And this is Al Bueller. And he's coached everybody at Duke. And he's been a coach there for 45 years. He still teaches. He's the oldest professor at Duke. He teaches a class called History of Sports. And he was an Olympic coach as well, 3 different Olympics. And so I was always, through my time at the Today Show and all through college and out of college, I always talked to Coach. He became a mentor to me. And just, how you doing, Coach? What's happening? He'd give me good advice and help me kind of pursue my dream. And this is him coaching at Duke. And during this time, he was real modest about who he was and what he had done. But there are things on the walls of his office, like Olympic jackets and medals and trophies and things signed by Carl Lewis and all these great athletes. So I knew there was something there. And so I'd ask him time to time. He'd give me a little nugget here and there about, yeah, when Jackie Joyner-Kersee and I were here or there. But for him, it wasn't about that. It was about how he could inspire his athletes to be better individuals and how he could help them reach their potential. And this was from the Jackie Joyner-Kersees to, Bob Smith, who walked on the track team, because he just believed in each of them. And so I learned so much from him, and I always said, someday I would tell his story. And I wanted to do it while he was alive and kicking and walking every day and teaching students. And so I called him up, and I said, how's it going? He said, I'm getting ready for a big birthday. And I said, and Coach, he's always just like, like Paul Newman, like ageless to me. And so I was like, no way. If you don't mind me asking, Coach, how old are you going to be? And he said, well, I actually turned 80 on 10/10/10. And that's when I was like, oh, we got to tell a story for his 80th birthday. That's what we got to do. So it was then, back to the media fellow, that I had the opportunity to go to Duke, and that's when I started this story. And I thought in 2 months I could tell this story of this coach and who he was, because I didn't really know the depth. But every great story opens doors to depth, 2 layers. And it was then that we started putting together a team. And as you can see here, we're shooting at different places at Duke, and Coach and his family were up for it, and they were amazing. And so this story that was supposed to be 2 months became a full feature-length documentary. And it's been an amazing process. We just completed the film. One of the most important storylines in the film, or powerful storylines, I believe, is his friendship with Dr. Walker. And what these two did on the track to change the world outside the track is amazing. At a time during segregation, they brought their teams together and formed a friendship and changed lives. And so that's one of the stories that we tell in the film. So and that's them again. So basically, I said, you know what, I'm going to dive into this. I'm going to follow my heart and my passion for storytelling. And I decided to do this full time. And so I taught a class at Duke, and the class was filmmaking class to help me finish the film and help me expand my horizons into filmmaking and storytelling. So Dr. Walker, actually, let me go back, is 92 years old, and Coach Bueller's 80. And together, we just had the screening at his 80th birthday. And they got a standing ovation when they came on the stage. It was pretty amazing. And along the way, the amazing thing happened. Grant Hill, NBA player, came on board because he had also taken this coach's class. And he believed in the power of storytelling and the power to inspire. And he said, I want to help you tell this story. So now we're entering the film in film festivals and hopefully, knock on wood, New York, and to share it with as many people as we can to tell these stories. And I hope that the next generation and my generation and the next generation will keep telling these powerful stories and for good, for change, and for the better. because I feel like there's so much out there these days. Like the top stories are different when what they used to be, you know. And so I think, but we shouldn't give up. We should keep believing in the stories that we feel need to be told. So, thank you guys very much.